everyone, and welcome to the Waste World podcast. My name is Stephanie Valentic, and I'm the editor-in-chief at Waste360.com. Each week, Gage and I will be joined by professionals, influencers, and community members for in-depth discussions on the world of waste. How's your holiday been, Gage? We had some time off here, and now we're just getting right back into it.
Yeah, so our episodes are kind of lining up with where we are in our regular life. So it's nice we can talk to the viewers like, oh, this is what just happened to me. So what just happened to me was I hosted 2 Thanksgivings, and in between that, my house's heat stopped working. So I had to scramble to get a electrician out here the day before Thanksgiving when everyone's booked, packed up to fix the heat in my house. Otherwise, it was going to be like 59 degrees for my family as we're eating, ham and turkey and whatever. So luckily, we got that figured out before everybody was just off for the whole long weekend. And I have heat now, even though I'm wearing a hoodie inside. There's a window right here. It's cold. So I'm just glad to have heat. So that was my Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for heat. How about you?
Yeah, same here. Spent some time with family and friends, and just trying to stay warm. The weather seemed to have gone from kind of lukewarm to just frigid in the past few days here, and I guess winter's here. So
Winter is here. I've seen the snow flurries that have been happening in your area, and northern than that. I'm not envious. I don't want it to come my way. I'm not interested in seeing any snow where I'm at right now. So
I'm looking to book my ticket to Florida here soon. So.
hey, go for it. Just escape. Get out.
So anyways, we're here to talk this week about safety with Gordon Cooper, the CEO and co-founder of Global Sensor Systems. Safety is something that no matter what season it is, you have to be proactive about. You cannot be reactive, especially in the winter when you're trying to avoid those slips and falls. But we'll talk a little bit about safety, about sensor systems for backup cameras for trucks and all kinds of good stuff. So you know what? Let's just get right into it.
Let's do it.
Gage and I were discussing before this all of the National Safety Council releases their estimates for roadway fatalities every holiday season, and Thanksgiving it's always around 500 people, and it's always the same causes: the distracted driving, the impaired driving. And also, Gordon, something that we love to hear from you is, garbage truck safety and hauling safety. The waste industry is never on vacation. During COVID, they were essential. So they're always in the front lines of having to be safe and having to assess risks and things like that. So we're excited to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you. And thanks for the opportunity to share the global story. It goes back 47 years when safety wasn't vogue. It's great to see the attention now given to safety like I have never seen it before.
Do you feel like that was because of, I noticed a lot, in just my experience with writing about safety, that, COVID really was a shift in the general population recognizing new health, not just new health, and preventative health, but also from a safety standpoint. How did you see that evolve around 2020 and in the past 5 years here?
Back in the day, safety, there's always been concerns about safety. But now, if there's a list of priorities, safety is at the top. There's several companies, and especially companies that we've been dealing with and have embraced the global system. It's like number 1 or 2 on the list. Safety first, fun always. And I think it's really been driven by a few factors. There's just more people out there. There's more people that get distracted. 47 years ago certainly didn't have, cell phones that you could walk around with. I mean, they had them, but it was fixed in your car, and very few were them around. But now everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's texting. Everybody's, you're taking pictures, and it's an environment which is dangerous when you've got a large vehicle with large blind spots, people in a hurry. And I mean, I think people are more, I've noticed it since COVID, people are just either agitated or more busy. So you add up, being in a hurry, being distracted, an environment where you've got a large vehicle backing up. It is a bit of an accident looking for a place to happen, and at no fault to, say, the operator, the driver. They're backing up, somebody distracted, they're looking one way, and this person just walks right in behind or drives in behind the vehicle. And some of these vehicles are backing up 300, 400, 500 times a day, which is amazing, for them to be doing that on a daily basis. So to have a system like the global system, a lot of the drivers who have it embrace it, because it takes a lot of stress out of their job.
I guess when you're speaking about new drivers and all of those issues, or not issues, but factors that play into the daily life of, I guess, a driver now or someone just working, sorry, my cat's going crazy. What's an important piece of advice you would give to new drivers? Like, is it just like having unparalleled focus on the road? Is it finding a way to not, have outside noise distract you when you are backing up 300 times a day? What would you tell a new driver now?
Yeah, so that is a good question, because we are hearing about, there seems to be the old guard is leaving. So a lot of new drivers coming on to the scene. The great thing is that the new drivers embrace new technology. And these trucks have a lot of technology. And the organizations that we have dealt with in the cities have excellent training programs, but it's hard to train for what is almost a deliberate act of somebody walking directly in behind a truck. And no matter how much training you have, maybe the new drivers being younger, faster reaction skills, but when you're backing up and you're looking in your right mirror, scanning to your left mirror, by the time you've scanned back to your right mirror, somebody has either walked in, pulled in, from the side, from an angle, directly behind it. And I don't care how fast you can react, you're not reacting fast enough. And that's where the global system, it doesn't hesitate. It sees, it's instantaneous, alerts the driver, applies the brakes.
So I'm personally curious. It doesn't sound like these types of sensor systems are standard in new trucks. And so many safety features, you see things like the seat belt, fasten noise, and things like that weren't standard before, but have become standard. What is it? What does the legislative or regulatory landscape look like to actually make one of these safety features mandatory for all new trucks that have that are being built?
Well, obviously we would love to see that global mandatory. It happened in 2010 with cameras, which was it was it was great. It was great to see it. Cameras can help prevent backing accidents, but it doesn't stop them all. We'd say that the cameras are a passive system, whereas global is an active system. When you're backing up, the drivers are using their mirrors, they're scanning the camera. So if you go 1, 2, 3, it's between that 2 and 3 or 1 and 2 that an object or person has moved in. And even with the camera, you've had an accident, and then what the camera is used for is to replay the accident and see how it happened. So that, you know, we have not been alerted that there is going to be anything leading in the direction of making these sensors mandatory. But we are talking to manufacturers that do want to make it a standard option at the factory. And I think this is again more awareness of the need for the safety, more large companies and cities embracing the idea of a safety product for backing up in particular.
Yeah, I mean, if you just think of all of the distractions between, you know, the repetitive motion of having to back up 400 to 500 times a day, and then also simultaneously having to watch the loads that go in, making sure that everything's loaded correctly, the people that are walking around, the other drivers that are out there. There's just so many factors that, you know, is not only creating more risk for the hauler, but is also, you know, creating opportunities to use technology and implement technology in a way that'll reduce any incidents or any accidents from happening.
Exactly. And one of the other drivers too, I believe is our favorite insurance companies. Mm-hmm. You know, insurance rates are going up, they're not going down. If you have an incident, you know, it's that 1 strike, 2 strikes. We've had companies that the insurance company has said, we're going to be pulling your insurance unless you do something about these accidents. And backing accidents are, you know, the one of the number 1 accidents with these large vehicles. And they put our system on, and knock on wood, they have not had any backing accidents since they did that. And their insurance company is happy, they're happy, and their drivers are happy. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, it really just feels like some safety things seem more, I don't want to, more, you know, not obvious, but more common sense or things along that line when it comes to installing this technology. So, you know, that's why I'm so excited that you were able to join us today to talk about safety and to talk about backing up and things that, and the hazards and the risks that drivers are facing every single day.
Oh, exactly. And if we had this conversation 47 years ago, it would have been a different conversation. You know, it would have been, yes, we have this product. It's exciting. It works. It's very clever. It's very simple. You know, it's very cost effective. You know, it's less than what 1 accident could cost. But the people who were buying it 47 years ago, the companies that were buying it 47 years ago, were very proactive with safety, or they just had a few backing accidents and they heard about it, saw us at a trade show, and would try it out. And that environment's changed now. You know, it's we want to be safety. We are selling our services on safety. They're using safety as as part of their pitch when they're going in to win a contract. We've had cities like City of Toronto has had our system on for close to 40 years. New York has 35 plus years. Sarasota, Florida, right where I am today, they've had it for 35 plus years. And a lot of the major haulers. So it's great to see our customers that have been using it for many decades, but now all these new companies and cities that are embracing it because of the whole safety awareness. And I think it's also a change in the people and the organizations that it's a different culture, and like bringing on new drivers that are friendly, technology friendly, people that are coming into these organizations and are in the driver training and the safety are pro safety systems, pro technology. So that's I think also making a positive change for safety on vehicles, and in our case, primarily backing up.
I think.
My dog just popped up.
It's funny, like right when we start doing the podcast, I don't hear from my cats all day. The dogs are good, and then when we start recording, both animals start freaking out that Steph and I take care of. So it's like just destroying. Maybe we need sensors on our room so that the animals know, like, listen, stay out, stay away. We have important conversations going on. I was going to ask. I was just going to make a funny little joke here. I asked on one podcast recently if we should start shaming people who recycle incorrectly. Should we shame people who don't pay attention when they're walking into the street? I think everyone knows the backup noise that trucks make, but can we get sensors that yell at people on the streets too? Like, hey, don't walk in the street. What are you doing? Look up from your phone. There's a truck here.
Keep out of my way. Well, it's
Stay out.
Interesting point about screaming something, because the beep, 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 beep becomes just ambient noise,
right,
that blends in to the surroundings, and people don't pay attention to it anymore.
Right.
We are now entering into a new area for us, which is road construction and safety, and all they hear all day long is beep, 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 beep. And a week ago, we had a new customer that tried the system out, and they had it on for about a month or so, and they said, we're ordering more. It just saved the life of one of our employees.
Wow.
That is incredibly cool.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard it before, but I don't get tired of hearing it, and that's the ones that you hear about. Not many people go, say, "Oh, you just saved a life of somebody with your technology." Nobody wants to admit that they almost took somebody out.
Right.
So we don't hear about all the things that this saves. We are coming up with some new technology that we're incredibly excited about. The technology that we have now is phenomenally simple. It works incredibly well. The new technology that we have is more sophisticated. It will provide more information, more data. You'll be able to do more things with it, route optimization. You'll be able to see how many times it saved an incident. It's been under development for the last just over 2 years, and next week we start testing our first Series 8 prototype. So we're very excited about it.
Yeah, that sounds incredible, because I mean, it just to have the data to back that up, it just says so much more. You can say I saved a life, but when you look at the overall data and you're able to collect that, you can say, okay, before that even happens, it's almost a reactive measure to say I want more units right away. So if you prepare before, and safety is all about preparation and pre-planning, not reaction. So it's just to be able to get to that level is just incredible.
Oh yeah, exactly. So the new system, we'll be bringing AI into it. We are strongly supported by the Canadian government on research and development, and they've been very supportive. Our president, Tammy, as well, she gives lectures on AI. So we're bringing AI into it. 3 technologies. It's just going to be very, very accurate, very useful for not just preventing backing accidents, but making routes safer by taking the data and being able to analyze it, by using the AI to say, hey, if you did this a little bit different, you could do this, or move this, and you may prevent an accident. Do this, and you'll be able to optimize your route by X amount of time, and you'll be able to gauge the performance of a driver, and a driver will be able to gauge their own performance, which is kind of neat. So yeah, all great stuff.
So I don't think we've touched on this yet. I'm just really curious, Gordon. When did you first realize the importance of safety that led you to come down this path and create these sensor systems?
Interesting story. So 40, almost 48 years ago, I graduated grade 13 and I hit the streets working. In Canada, we have grade 13. Everybody else was going off to college or university, and I hit the streets. And I was I just happened to be in a warehouse of the company I was working for. I was getting something, and I heard this. It was summertime, and the doors were open, and I heard this beep, 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 beep. And I said, "What's that?" And I went outside and looked and saw this truck backing up. And I thought, oh, that's a good idea. And so my brother at that time worked for a very large company. His background was in electronics. And I said to him, could we make this beeper? And he says, yeah, we could make that. So I thought, okay. So I thought, let me find a company that would be using these beepers. And I found a company that was up in Weston in Ontario, called Disposal Services. And I went in and saw a gentleman that was in the back that oversaw the garage. His name was Harry Chad. Just a big trucker kind of looking guy, kind of scary. He had a big bulldog, which was the Mack truck logo, and emblem on his desk. And I said to him, would use these backup beepers? He goes, those backup beepers, my problem isn't telling people we're backing up. My thing is my guys are backing into walls and cars and fence posts. And I said, I put my tail between my legs and walked out and thought, well, it was a good idea anyways. And back in the day, probably black and white TV, I just happened to be channel hopping, and I came across a program which I never watched, Longstreet, which was about a blind detective. And for whatever reason, I stayed on the program, and he had a cane, and somebody had given them this cane. And when he was walking with the cane, when he got closer to an object, it would vibrate. And I thought, I could put that technology on the back of a truck, and when it's backing up, you wouldn't vibrate the truck, but maybe you could tell the driver in some form. So I spoke to my brother about it, and after several iterations of trying different technologies and working with my father, who was a tool and die maker at the time, and we came up with the system. And I remember the first time putting it on Harry Chad's truck up at Disposal Services, and it worked. And then he said, well, can you apply the brakes? So we went back to the drawing board and came up with a system to apply the brakes. And that's the system that we have today. And it's gone through different variations and modifications over the years, but the technology has pretty much stayed the same. So that's how it all came about.
I like that the owner of Disposal Services gave you the idea, but then you didn't apply it to your own brain until you watched TV about a blind detective. And it was like, oh, of course, it was right there the whole time.
It's been a whirlwind of ideas. Since then, we've had 16 different companies of various technologies. Everything from piano restoration to developing the first water-soluble paintball and repeating paint gun, and doing things with the Air Force Labs in Albuquerque, New Mexico, to the adaptive optics and carbon fiber, and but the sensor systems has hung in through the duration, and it's going stronger than ever now. That is kind of neat to see my daughter Caroline involved and embracing the industry and the technology, and all the friends that she's made while she's been doing it. So it's kind of the perfect storm.
Yeah. Well, I like the story a lot. I think that was very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, unfortunately, I want to hear more. But unfortunately, we're running low on time here. We want to keep these in their respective time slots. But if you had any inclination of in the future, where do you think safety is going to go now that the awareness has been established? What's your take on that?
Safety is just it's being driven by so many things with autonomous vehicles. Obviously, you need all this technology. I think you're going to see it filtering down to the large trucks. It's just going to get better and better and better. Nothing's ever perfect, and especially with technology, there's always, every technology has got its little glitches. Hence why the new system that we've got, we're marrying 3 technologies. But it is going to just get more affordable, better, more reliable, easier to use, and which will allow more and more companies to embrace it. So I think things like Vision Zero, where it's all about make safer streets, that's going to be a reality. It's like curing cancer. Whoever thought? But it's happening, and it's happening today. And I see the same thing with safety. And when a company like Global gets embraced by the Canadian government, and they help us move this technology ahead, because there is a need, that just creates better and more affordable technology.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much, Gordon, again, for joining us today. We'll have to continue the conversation in another episode here. But for now, like I said, it's always a pleasure to see you at trade shows and to see Global Sensor Systems and Caroline. And I look forward to see where this technology goes in the future. There's just so much out there now, and as you mentioned in your story, maybe one piece of technology doesn't have the capabilities, but it's about piecing those things together to make it a fully functional and system that new drivers can adapt to, and old drivers too. So thanks again for joining us, and for more content like this and more information on the waste and recycling industry, stay tuned to waste360.com. Be sure to follow our podcast on Spotify and other podcasting services, and remember, it's our world, so let's not waste it.